Ever since Season 8 release, Nejuri Hado season, I've been a little iffy on tuning. Now, I didn't make a video immediately because I wanted to let my feelings simmer, and also I was just lazy. But now that more time has passed, I've got more time to test out tuning builds. I have to say, I do not like tuning. Now, sit back and relax as I use this video to explain my feelings on tuning and my reasonings on why I don't like it. Now, before I go into the big issues with tuning that I have, I want to start off small so everybody can get settled in, right? Right. So, a minor issue I have with tuning is some of the slots for villains. They are really limited, and now that I just said that, some of you are probably already thinking about the two villain categories. Strike villains and assault villains. These two categories are really limited in their options. Strike villains only just got one extra character, and it's this season, Lady Nagan, which is cool, and I hope they release more characters just to support these tuning slots. But the fact that you only have 3 options to choose from, while isn't terrible unlike assault villains, it's still very limiting for how tuning tries to present you with all these options to customize your characters. Then assault villains is terrible. Now, it's just young AFO and Assault Shiggy. Now, I say this is a minor problem since this will be fixed over time, and this is an Ultra Rumble issue in general with its lack of villains, but still, I still want to say this is a minor issue. Next complaint I have for tuning is how repetitive some are. For example, the Revenge tunings, Revenge Support, Strike, and Rapid, you name it. They all have the same activation, get your guard broken and insert some effect. Now those tunings were made when the system was first introduced, fine. But even now they still have this problem, the melee tunings. Just hit your opponent with one part of the melee combo and boom, you get your effect. Sisterly Disposition, Iron Fist, Transblow. Yes, I know you can't always be creative, don't get me wrong, but that doesn't mean it's free from criticism. And even Baiken has given plus ultra tunings different activations, like Crushing PU, KO your opponent to increase your plus ultra gauge, Extra Win, level up so you can increase your plus ultra gauge, and even then you have to wait before you can use it again. Then Symbol of Peace, you load into the match and there you go, your plus ultra gauge goes up. All these tunings in one way fill up your plus ultra gauge, but they're all drastically different. Not to say all the melee tunings are bad, I like Acceleration, that's a cool tuning, but I still believe tunings will suffer from being repetitive in the future. My next major issue with tuning is the balance behind them. This is another My Hero Ultra Rumble issue because it's suffering right now from terrible balancing, but still applies to tuning. For example, Todoroki's special tuning, Resist Freeze / Burn, both variants. They aren't bad on paper, especially Resist Freeze, since you can just negate combos from certain characters. That's pretty cool, but you realize those are the only 3 characters in this game that can freeze you. Red and Purple Todo, and Iron Might, which you aren't always going to fight these characters, so it's situation heavy. And you can still just run better tunings like Critical Permeation, High Speed Replenishment. If you have the right tuning slots under your purple, you can run Fixer or Special Action Reload Boost. These are really good tunings that can always benefit you, unlike Resist Freeze, to where you're not always going to fight a character that frees you. Or another tuning that suffers from terrible balancing, Battlefield Analysis. Like, why would you run this tuning? There isn't too many benefits to knowing where the next safe area is going to be. Like, why not just run, I don't know, Revenge Support, which heals you when you get guard broken. If you're a res character like Tsuyu or Shiozaki, Reinforce Revive, which you're just bringing up a downed ally instantly just by pressing triangle, but you're also giving them shields back so they have extra defense. That is just crazy. And I wish that tuning got nerfed, but more on that later. And the final tuning I want to bring up for a good support tuning, Warp Heal, like you can heal allies from afar without being on the battlefield. These are really good tunings for support, and they are just far more useful than Battlefield Analysis. Now I want to go into the strong tunings now to show that the power difference between them, like going back to it, Reinforce Revive again. This is a strong tuning. It's hard to interrupt revives, and the fact that people can just get up for free with heals, but shields too is crazy. Then Willpower, which just stops you from getting KO'd in general. It's cheap on characters like Iron Might, who has 400 HP with movement, and Space Hop, which is a good vertical tool for Endeavor. Combine this with his special action, he goes really high. And this has been a tuning since Season 10, and it has not been nerfed yet. A lot of people run it, not even just Endeavor players, because it's just good vertical height, while also giving you a good vantage point to attack from above. And it just makes the player using it harder to hit. My final major issue with tuning is the fact that it just makes your character better with no flaws. You just have a better character. For example, just placing one part of tuning like extra health for this example is good because even though it's not much health, hey, it's extra HP. Why wouldn't you take it? It's always good to have. Even replacing the HP tuning part with like a damage slot, why wouldn't you take more damage? It can always help out in the long run. And this issue is made worse with special tunings like Reinforced Revive, that can just buff the resin capabilities, or willpower, which just has you survive a fatal blow. That's crazy to me. Like, I feel like tuning should have given you flaws so you can have more thought while making your builds, instead of just giving you all these positives and saying, hey, go wild with them. Like, I would have liked it if you equipped willpower, right? Maybe it gave you the flaw of like, hey, you have less HP to balance out you surviving a fatal blow. Because characters like Rapid Might, any character can just run willpower, and it's kind of annoying to just have a KO taken, all because they just had a certain tuning on. Or Reinforced Revive, which is especially crazy since when you max it out, you just get full shield reviving a person. And then you combine this with like the res characters like Siyu, who can just escape a fight while resing their teammate, or Shiozaki, who has 2 revives. It's just utterly ridiculous to deal with. Then this also goes for the tuning parts, to where some tuning parts are just straight up better than others. Like for example, Overall and Shiozaki's tuning parts, not their special tuning, just their tuning parts. Shiozaki's gives you extra health, but Overall gives you extra health while also adding gamma damage. Now yes, I know not every gamma does damage in this game, but still, a majority of the cast gamma does damage. So most of the time, why wouldn't you take Overalls over Shiozaki's? Like, you're just getting another benefit with more damage. Then this also goes for like Kendo versus Kaminari's base tuning. Kendo gives you a beta buff while also giving you extra defense from a certain quirk skill damage. Why wouldn't you take this over Kaminari, which just gives you one thing of buff? Like, hey, you just do more damage with your beta. But Kendo does that while also giving you a defense buff. It's like, why wouldn't you take this? So that's another major issue I have with tuning, is the fact that it just has 0 flaws. But that's all I have to say for that one. Before I give my final thoughts on tuning to close out the video, I have one more minor issue. And that's the fact that characters who lack outfits will suffer because they will have less tuning builds to create. Like, take a character like Lady Nagant, for example, who's a recent addition. She only has 2 PUI outfits and her default outfit, 3 outfits. So she doesn't have the build variety like, let's say, a Deku, who has so many outfits, and she may suffer from this. Now, don't think I'm calling her a weak character. No, I am not. She is a really strong character that deserves to be nerfed. But still, this is kind of a minor issue because MHA has always suffered from this with just characters lacking outfits. Like, take Shiozaki, or Overall, for example, who just recently got a skin when he came out in Season 6. But yes, that's my final minor issue. Now with that all said and done, I've made it clear that I don't like tuning. It is an unbalanced mess that helps weak characters, yes, but also makes strong characters stronger. And with how bad the balancing is nowadays, it just forces you to play it more and more. That's another thing I don't like. That Viking introduced it and made it so strong that you are hindering yourself if you don't use it. I wanted it to be a fun side option to play your character, not a way to be forced down my throat with all the benefits it gives me and broken combinations. Because I love the way Viking made their characters. They were fun to play without all the tuning stuff. Now yes, there are fun ways to play with tuning. I do like some tunings, like acceleration, giving your characters combo routes. Like for example, Technical Dobby here, this melee loop into his gamma, or this air melee into his gamma. This is cool stuff to me. I find it awesome. Or Warp Heal on Shiozaki. Like, look how I just purposely camp in the storm here with Shiozaki, letting myself take storm damage. Then, so I can drink a health potion to help my allies. This is really cool to me. I feel like a true support. But now it's like, I'm just punished if I choose not to play with the tunings. I find that annoying because I don't hate the system. I just liked the game for what it was, and tuning was just kind of forced on me. But yeah, that's all I have to say pretty much. Goodbye and have a good day.